Back at meet at the parish's main library with Barry Bradford, the library system director, and assistant director Bianca Roberts. What a happy Saturday morning it is, as a Woman of Excellence for 2014 was given the award. Actually, Betty Stewart, 32-year veteran Tourist Commission director, got the award from last year's recipient, attorney Lila Hogan. Well, Barry, this has become such a festive occasion. You have even music today, refreshments, and showing off a great facility here.
Absolutely. I think every year this just gets better and better. This is the kind of event that we sort of imagined when we built this library. We wanted to have programs where we can honor people who have served the community, and having a meeting room, having a gorgeous facility like this is, that's sort of the first thing you have to do is have that ambiance, that venue, and I think we have that. So.
Ronnie Sistrunk, for example, who is the president of the Amite Chamber of Commerce, is very proud to have this to show off, and they've even had some of their meetings here.
Absolutely, and we've had meetings by Tangipahoa Parish government. We've actually had veterans groups meet. We've had politicians meet here with various groups that they belong to, but also homeschoolers come and use the facility. We've had all kinds of people come and use both our meeting room and our tutoring space for just a variety of reasons, and that's part of what the library is designed to do. That's what we're here for, is to be a help to the community in whatever way we can. So,
Bianca, as the lady among us, what does this Woman of Excellence Award mean, do you think, to women who perhaps might believe that they don't get the recognition they deserve?
Well, most of the people who receive this award are not doing it for the recognition, but the reason the award is important is because it sets an example. It's hard sometimes to find a good mentor, a female mentor, if you're a professional female or whatever you're doing. It's hard to find somebody, and knowing that there are people out there who are doing things, women out there who are doing things, who are making things happen, and who are willing to share that information is very important. And Betty is obviously the epitome of that.
We're lucky in Tangipahoa to have such women of excellence, but then again, maybe they feel that way in a lot of places.
I'm sure they do feel that way in a lot of places. Women work really hard, and most of the times it's not just careers that women are doing. They're also running households and taking on the bulk of that. So being able to balance it all and do it all very well, it's pretty impressive.
I could ask the question, what does this award mean? But I'm thinking of all of those who teared up today at this Saturday morning ceremony, and it obviously means a lot. Even Terry Lynn Smith, for example, who is Hammond's Downtown Development District Director. Just a lot of way to go girl sentiment here.
It is, because again, Betty has always been someone who has helped bring others along. She hasn't just been out there looking at how to succeed by herself. She's always helped other people succeed, and that came through today with all the people who talked about her.
There's something about the female psyche that maybe they're not the show-offs that men tend to be, that often the recognition that goes to a man, a woman had maybe even more to do with it than the guy who gets all the awards.
Probably, but again, it's not things, especially in nonprofits, it's not being done for the recognition. It's being done for the end result. Betty did all her hard work because it benefited Tangipahoa Parish, not because she thought in 2014 she was going to get an award from us. And that's a key part of this.
Well, and also, she had to create this job. When she took over as the Tourist Commission director, there was very little tourism inducement effort in Tangipahoa. Just the budget alone, it was negligible when she took over. Now it exceeds $1 million a year.
The power of persistence. She just kept pushing forward, kept reaching out, and the networking. Women have a tendency to work in groups. We want to help each other. We want to pull each other along. And that was one of the main keys to her success, as she noted.
Well, Barry, why the library? There's some people who are maybe catching this interview and think, well, why would the library do something like this? As worthwhile as it is, why is it in your job description?
Well, I look at the library as being one of the cornerstones of democracy. It's one of the foundations, like a free press. And if the library doesn't do it, then who's going to do it? Government maybe, but I think the library, being an institution of information, an institution of learning, of information dispersal, I mean, we have the space, we have the mission statement. I think it's an ideal thing for our library to do.
And your board of directors agrees.
Absolutely. Our board of directors is 100% behind this. So.
Also, the awards we're talking about, they're on display here.
Yes, we have a permanent plaque in our library that has the names of each year's winner. Honoree. We have that, which we add to every year, and the honoree takes home a plaque of their own, but we also continue to honor them every day in our library with this perpetual plaque.
Well, it's a time of year when a lot of us, especially after the winter we've had, are rediscovering the great outdoors. But on the other hand, we can ask the question, what's new at the library?
Oh, wow. Well, we have added e-magazines. That's the newest thing. In other words, people can go on our website and browse magazines free, again, and they're exactly like the magazines you would see in the library. You actually flip through the pages, you see the same articles, the same images. It's exactly the same as a print magazine, but you can access it 24/7 from wherever you might be with the internet. So that's one of the new things we have.
Well, for example, okay, one pet peeve of mine, some of the magazines to which you refer, Time magazine, for example, to get the whole thing or even to get very much, you need to be a subscriber. Are you telling me that I can log on at the parish library website and read my Time magazine?
That is absolutely correct, and you do not have to pay one dime. Your tax dollars have already paid for it. So all of these titles are there for you to browse for free.
Well, I was not aware of that, thank you, but one of the things that jumps right out at me is that even if your wife or you yourself are going to buy the Time magazine at the next available newsstand, this gets it to you as soon as it's published.
Absolutely, it's an instant update. I mean, every time it comes out, it's right there the minute that it's available anywhere. So yeah, it's a great addition to our library, I think.
A small-time favorite magazine, the Atlantic Monthly. What about that?
Well, we could add that. We're in the process. I believe we have around 25 magazines now, I think. So we're going to be adding every year. We're going to be adding to that. So we have Rolling Stone, we have Time, we have Country Living, we have a number of titles that we carefully looked at the titles to see what people were reading in our libraries and what we thought people would be interested in. We have computer magazines, so yeah.
Well, the library card that you have is what enables you to access these?
Absolutely. All you have to have is a library card, which you can get for no charge in any of our branches, and it opens up a world. And of course, not only e-magazines, but e-books, databases. Is an enormous genealogy information. There's an enormous amount that you can access through our website.
And here at the
24/7.
As at all of your branches, there's great Wi-Fi. So if you want to bring your phone or whatever device you have, this is a great place to use it.
Absolutely, and we're in the near future. We're going to be going up to 1 gigabyte of bandwidth, so we will have an even more powerful, faster connection than ever before. So,
what else do you want to share with us?
Well, the library is also, of course, we're coming up soon on our summer reading program. We have a number of programs we do every day, every week in our libraries. But another thing I wanted to talk about was our atomic training, which is an online training course that you can go into again with your library card on our website and learn computer applications, learn interview skills, those kinds of things. Again, it's free. All of this is free at our library because we provide this for the public through the tax dollars they've already paid.
A lot more than books, nothing wrong with books, but I've seen many people leave here with a fistful of DVDs.
Absolutely, we got DVDs, we got books on CD, we have free coffee if you want to come and hang out with us. We have that every day in our 3 larger branches. We've got so much to offer. It's just a matter of communicating that to the public so that they know, and we appreciate very much the opportunity to share with the public through Action News 17. We appreciate it.
Another honor for Betty Stewart, who was for 32 years Tangipahoa's Tourist Commission Director. Here at the Parish Library in Amite, she was honored as the Woman of the Year. And I want to ask what this award means to you, but I could tell by how choked up you were at the podium, it means a lot.
It absolutely does. When you think about all the women in Tangipahoa Parish, and to be selected for this was a huge, huge honor. It really moved me.
And one of several honors you've received.
Yes, and I laughingly say, you can tell when you're old and they're telling you it's time to go on home, but every single one of them has been just something I'll treasure for the rest of my life.
The way I've described it, forget that you excelled at the job. You had to create the job because when you started, there had not been a tourist director and the revenue available was minimal. So you had to create this whole tourist inducement effort.
Yes, and I don't know if that's good or bad because every day you wake up and you don't have a textbook, you don't have a guideline, you have to make your own way. And, if you could dream it, you could make it happen. And I just love Tangipahoa Parish so much and wanting to see it move up to a higher level and have the respect throughout the state that it should have, and I think we're there.
Do you realize do you remember that there were a lot of people they could not conceptualize how a tourist would want to come to Tangipahoa Parish. To them it was laughable that we would have a tourist industry.
Well, Ken, it still is, and I have to say the majority of people in this parish, even after 32 years, still don't know that we exist. Even though we do have $1 million budget, we fill every hotel room in this parish on a weekly basis. Most of them do not know we exist or what we do because not a lot of time and effort is spent in this parish. Our job is to go outside and bring people in, and that's what we've done.
You've seen also over the years these hotel facilities improve dramatically, and they're still improving, and even after you left, we'll be getting hotels at a whole different category.
That's right. We've got some of the best hoteliers in the state. We work with them on a daily basis. They're great partners. It's a give and take. They tell us what we should be doing, and we meet with them to get their advice. They come to us for advice. There may be a housekeeper that's left one property, but another property needs one. We stay in touch with them on a daily, weekly basis. We meet on a regular basis, and we've had a wonderful relationship with our hotels. Wonderful.
And you've had some job offers from some of these hotels.
Well, yeah, but...
so they're not sending you to the house with a gold watch. They're...
Well, the thing is, I had several ask about consulting, and that's just not... I told them anything I know I'd be willing to do. I would never take $1 for that because they've given me such a great life, and they're like family. I would never go to work for one of them on a consulting basis. I would like to offer them any information that I could give them, but I would not want to take advantage of them.
Well, for example, here in Amite, did you ever think we would have not 2 hotels, but 2 great hotels here in Amite, and more coming?
Absolutely, and the pride in Amite is unbelievable, those hotels. And of course, I like to give credit to the arena for helping those hotels grow. Kelly Wells has done an exceptional job. That arena could have gone anywhere in this parish. This is where it needed to be, and we're very proud of that as well.
You just look at the whole parish, and now the tourist industry is pretty obvious. I mean, the festivals that are huge and getting bigger.
Absolutely. The sporting events is just unreal, the number of tournaments that basketball and baseball and softball. This year we'll host the girls softball World Series at the Ponchatoula Park. At the Hammond Park, there's a tournament almost every single weekend with 2 and 3 night stays. So we've grown by leaps and bounds, and thank goodness for the new hotel coming around, the courtyard, because we absolutely need the space.
What else do you want to share with us?
Well, I'd just like to thank the people of the parish. You've given me 32 wonderful years. I couldn't have asked for a better job. It's been an honor for me to represent this parish all over the country, and I just appreciate the opportunities that I've had.
Hammond attorney Lila Hogan was last year's recipient of the Woman of the Year Award here at the Amite Library, where she presented that award, the 2014 version, to Betty Stewart. What an occasion this was, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the room.
I know Betty Stewart is quite a wonderful person, and I without a doubt, she is our ambassador. Tangipahoa Parish, 32 years going all over the country and the world promoting Tangipahoa Parish. She's our ambassador, so I'm thrilled that she got this award. No one more deserving.
What does it mean to women in general to have this kind of an award?
I think it's important to recognize women who actually do something in the community. So many times the women are unheralded heroes, or they're doing all kinds of things, and yet they're not promoting themselves. They're not out there telling people, hey, look what I'm doing. So I think it's great to have, in women, particularly in Women's History Month, to promote, to recognize women who are doing extraordinary things.
I think there's something just in the female psyche that maybe they're more cooperative in nature, that women often don't seek the glory. So therefore, men get more recognition than perhaps we deserve.
I think that's true. There are certainly exceptions of that, but I know that we're not, in my generation, maybe in the new generation it's different, but in my generation we were not taught to promote ourselves. We were taught that if somebody said something nice to us, we were supposed to say, oh, it's okay, yeah, thank you very much, but really it's a team, yeah, I had a bunch of people helping me out. We were taught not to say thank you, I really appreciate that. We weren't taught to promote ourselves, and that's something that we were reared with from our birth.
And maybe another issue is that young women, even young girls, need role models, and we don't want our new generation of ladies to emulate men necessarily. They need the female role models.
Well, I think you can have mentors of both sexes. I mean, I had Judge Ford as a mentor, Judge Tate was my mentor, and then I look at my high school English teacher, Jenny Strout was my mentor, and she's the one that said, you can do it. You can do anything you want to do in life. You just have to do hard work and put in the hard work and let people know you want to do it. And that was important. And yes, I do think we need a lot more women role models.
Barry Bradford, the library director, when I asked why would the library necessarily be the one to do this award, he says, because libraries have to be one of the main bulwarks of democracy.
I agree. I love books. I love newspapers, libraries. They're the repository of our history. I mean, where else can you walk into a building and get the not just the nonfiction, the history of this community, the genealogy, as the Tangipahoa Parish Library is big into that for all of our families, but also you can get the fiction. And in each, I learned more history, and I was a history major in college. I've learned more history reading mysteries, English mysteries, mysteries from all over Europe. I've learned more about the history of various countries through reading fiction. And Jane Austen in England, and learning of the mores and the manners of an era during the early 1800s. That's what books can do. And so, I mean, what better place to have a history award, Women's History Award, Woman of Excellence, than the library.
Well, before we close, everybody will want me to ask, will we hear more from Lila Hogan?
I'm sure you will. Not sure what God has in plans for me, but I'm out here.
The library needs to be one of the primary organizations to encourage the recognition of women, the honoring of women, because women make up half of our population or more. And I have an interesting quote from Bill Gates about this. I don't know if you've heard it. Very interesting. I've been waiting for some time for an opportunity to read this quote because I love it so much. Bill Gates recalls once being invited to speak in Saudi Arabia and finding himself facing a segregated audience. 4/5 of the listeners were men on the left. The remaining 1/5 were women, all covered in black cloaks and veils on the right. A partition separated the two groups. Toward the end, in the question and answer session, a member of the audience noted that Saudi Arabia aimed to be one of the top 10 countries in the world in technology by 2010, and asked if that was realistic. Well, if you're not fully utilizing half the talent in your country, Gates said, you're not going to get too close to the top 10. The small group on the right erupted in wild cheering. I absolutely think that is the truth. We have to not only honor and recognize the women of excellence in our communities, but follow their example. And without any further ado, I'm going to invite our assistant director to come forward and talk about this year's honoree.
We started the Woman of Excellence Award program in 2011. We wanted a way to celebrate Women's History Month. We do programs in our branches that incorporate women's history all the time, but we wanted a culminating event. So we decided to honor a special woman in Tangipahoa Parish, and it started off with just a committee selecting someone, and our very first recipient was Antoinette Harrell. After that first year, we decided to get some community input, and we invited the community to nominate people. And this year, the committee chose Betty Stewart as our recipient. Everyone talked about all the great work she had done in the community, especially with Tangi tourism, and so they felt this year was the perfect time to show recognition. I'd like to ask Terry Lynn Smith, who was one of the two people who nominated Betty for this award and who knows Betty very well, to come up and share her thoughts about Betty and why she's getting this award.
Betty was worried about her getting emotional. I'm going to do that too, but I'll get over it. I want to tell you a story. When I came to work with the Downtown Development District in 2006, I was a little taken aback. It was such an ominous job. It was detailed, it was economics, it was all kinds of things, getting to know all the merchants and everything. Well, the first thing I did, I hot-footed over to meet with Betty. And I sat in her office and I said, what do I do? How do I handle this? Who's who? Who should I be afraid of? Who should I like? Who should I worry about? And she was very straightforward and made it sound so simplistic. Well, 8 years later, intermittently, I have sat with Betty with problems, and she's always able to get you on the right track. She doesn't tell you what to do. She suggests different ways of doing things and different people to talk to. So over the years, I have learned and added that to my list of to-dos. I know that there's a sheet in the program that tells you all about Betty, and I'm fascinated that she married a person, Roy Harris, who came to help her in ways that she needed desperately, because this woman has traveled all over the United States and abroad. She has worked many 7 long day weeks, and we know what it takes. I'm looking here at the $20,000 budget in 1982, and then the $1 million in 2014. Do you know how much work that takes? How many people it takes to get with you, to cooperate with you? And I know Betty is a communicator, which is 99% of everything that the tourism people need to do. She knows every person in every hotel, probably here to Canada, and that takes effort and time. And I wanted to say a shout out to Roy, because he also stepped up years ago in the stepfather's position and helped her take care of her 4 children, and 2 of them are here with us today. There's Terry in the yellow shirt and Carrie right on the edge over there. Thank you. And I told Terry she has a great name. So, but I just wanted to talk that it's not only your accomplishments, but it's how you do it and the people you influence. And being a woman, we've got a lot of things to do and say. I know that Betty is very astute about everything she does. She analyzes it. She sits at that computer. She knows who's doing what. You go to visit her, she will stop whatever she's doing to sit with you, no matter who you are. And her new building, and it is her new building, is awesome. And I go there every time wishing that I had the big Hammond sign in the DDD office, but she wouldn't let me have it. But I know that when you go to all of these different countries, Betty, that you have met some wonderful people, and you said to me that you feel like the luckiest person on the planet. And I would agree that she probably is, but she did a lot of work to get there. She's told me about the trips they take to go and visit with folks and get them to sign off to come to Tangipahoa Parish. it's hard. They have luggage and different things, and they're carrying all this stuff, and they're up late, and they get up early, and it's a big job. And we want you to know that you are a woman of excellence because of what you've done and what you've helped others do. And thank you.
Before I do it, I just want to add my 2 cents, as usual. This is a lovely event. I want to thank everybody, and particularly the library, for putting this on and recognizing women. This is great, and I just wish more people would know about it. We need to get the word out to people. It's just beautiful between the music, the food, the setting, what a lovely facility, and the people. This is a terrific event. My little bit of Betty Stewart. 2006, I'm putting on a conference for a bunch of people from the state of Louisiana, from all around, mental health professionals, financials, and lawyers. And I said, oh, I guess I better tell them what's going on in Tangipahoa Parish. So I sent somebody, my paralegal, Gail Keller, over to the Tourism Bureau and said, just get some information about what's going on so that they can know what's happening this weekend. She comes back and says, guess what? They're going to do goodie bags for 100 people. And they did. And we picked them up. It was terrific. And this is something I wasn't used to. I had no idea that you could put on a conference and go to the tourism people, and they would advertise Tangipahoa Parish. It was wonderful. And that's my first experience with her. Of course, I've seen her all over the place since then. But I can't think of anybody in this parish that deserves this honor more. This is truly our ambassador, our Tangipahoa Parish ambassador all over the world is Betty Stewart. I am thrilled to be able to hand this honor to you. Woman of excellence.
I'm going to try to do this, guys. Let me tell you. Wow, so many friends here this morning. I know how hard it is to get up on a Saturday morning. I've had to do it for 32 years and hit the road to the festivals, to the events. So I truly, truly appreciate that you all took the time to do this. And thank you, Barry Bradford, Bianca. Thank you all so much for making this award possible for the women of Tangipahoa Parish. Bianca had asked me to talk about why it's important to give back. And I think I have a way of showing you how that down the road comes back to benefit all of us. 32 years ago, I immediately knew I had to go out in this parish and meet people that made a difference in their communities. I met a network of friends that were the movers and shakers, volunteering on a daily basis to make their hometown better. In Kentwood, retired Kentwood High School principal, Ms. Fosha Wilson, offered her time and her knowledge every single day to the Kentwood community. I guess her biggest tourism contribution was Sweet Home Church Museum. In Fluker, Mr. R.A. Kent and Ms. Norma Lambert of Tangipahoa both thought the sun rose and set in only their communities. Both offered countless hours of their time and knowledge to Camp Moore Museum, and even up in age, you could call on them at any day, time, or place, and they were willing to volunteer their time. And then I came on down to A-Meet, and I met all these young people that were doing volunteer work. Brenda Bellavia, who was one of the charter members on the Tourist Commission 32 years ago, helped jumpstart the Tourist Commission way back then. T.J. Reed, Carol Glasgow, and Buddy Bell, all working here, giving of their time to make A-Meet a better place. Carol and TJ both helped me with the Tangipahoa Day at the 1984 New Orleans World's Fair, long time ago. Buddy Bell was my go-to person and still is. Brenda will always be a friend, has always contributed to the Tourist Commission anytime that she's been asked. And I'm sure when Ashley looks through the history of the Chamber, all of these names come up on a regular basis, all giving to their community. One of the most aggressive volunteers in Independence was Lawrence Schaff. Although Lawrence was from Houma, he came to the Italian Festival, met an Independence woman, and never left. From starting a Chamber of Commerce to the Lions Club to the Italian Festival Committee, he offered all of his time and efforts back to his adopted community. Miss Rose Lowenthal, she left Metairie, purchased the Neeson House in Tickfall for a bed and breakfast, but spent far more time contributing to her community and volunteering than she did taking care of her business. She was instrumental in getting all the property along the railroad track in Tickfall donated to the town to use for local events. In the late 80s, I met Marguerite Walter, who had taken on the task of bringing the dying ghost of downtown Hammond back to life. Even though it was her part-time job, Marguerite gave so much more of her free time back to the city she loved and paved the way for Terry Lynn and the Hammond DDD. Last but not least, Dr. Charles Gideon of Ponchatoula. I always wondered where he had time to practice as a chiropractor because he was always involved in a major volunteer project. Where would Ponchatoula be today without old Hardhide? Most of these people, well, not the Amy people, but most of these people have passed on. But they each and every one showed me over 30 years ago what could be accomplished by giving back. Their giving back was long ago, but we all see daily what has evolved in these communities because of their early efforts. I was given the opportunity to learn from these friends and many, many more through the years. Now it's time for me to give back to a parish that has blessed me for the past 32 years. Thank you.